Hi folks, I'm Richard Friedman and welcome to my political cartoon countdown for May 8th, 2021. Every week, couple of weeks or so, we get together and we do the countdown based upon the impressions and scores on Twitter and popularity. And I put it together, 5 or 6 cartoons. Today we have the top 5. And we start from number 5, work our way up to number 1. And before I get to that, I would just like to tell you a little about myself and my book. I was a teacher for over 20 years, taught math at high school, and I I retired and got into writing books. And this is the latest in my series of books on the Donald J. Trump presidency, issues of the presidency. And basically here, covers the whole year of 2020. And I have a whole series of books going back to 2016 during the time when they were debating before the election, the debates of 2016, and covering the victory of Trump then, and going through from 2016 through 2020. So it's 4 solid years. This is I consider this one of the best, the greatest of the greatest. I like to think of it, you know. And this is the book here. It's all political cartoons, and the thing about it is that you could keep it as a time capsule because it time frames everything, is capsulated in terms of the event and the characters, so you could refresh your memories, go back, anything that happens in the future, you could always use this as a reference. And so here it is, folks. This is the 2020, the greatest 2020 book of political cartoons on issues of the Donald J. Trump presidency. And I'm just going to randomly go through a few cartoons here. Okay, here it is. Here's President Trump, kind of meditating here. And he's saying, looks like because of this rigged election, I won't even have the time to reimpose United Nations sanctions on Iran, which had the support of the great world power of the Dominican Republic's vote at the UN. So that was the only country that supported President Trump in those sanctions. So, and then there's here's, if you ever watch Hogan's Heroes, here's Schultz saying this was defense Mark Esper. They used to joke and they called him Jesper. That was just a joke they called him because they thought he was saying yes at the Defense Department to former President Trump too much. They called him Jesper, Defense Secretary Jesper. So anyway, I'm not going to comment on that, but that's just a side dish, you know. So here he is, and here this is Esper, former Secretary of Defense, and he's saying, I know nothing about Russian practices against U.S. troops in Afghanistan that included the term bounty. The bounty allegations was not produced by a Department of Defense agency. Therefore, I know nothing about the origins of the bounty allegations. And here, imitating Sergeant Schultz, who say, I know nothing, I see nothing, I hear nothing. You know, here he is. So, an example of one. You know, I get interested in myself when I look at this, and I don't want to detract from what I'm doing. Here is during during the time of the election, there was a situation watching video of Biden campaign bus being swarmed in Texas. So during the campaign, the Biden bus went down to Texas, and here you got the Biden bus here, and then you got swarms of trucks going around it, and here's former President Trump watching that on television, on the big screen there, And he says, look at our nice people protecting that Biden campaign. They said they were protecting the bus, protecting campaign bus. Look at their Trump and American flags. These fantastic patriots did nothing wrong, you know. And then that was. So there's the Biden bus, and all the trucks going around. There's the Trump flag, waving the flag, the American flag, and all that. Yeah. President Trump watching this. Former President Trump. Okay. Okay, here is President Trump. He likes to show that he's very vigorous, and he's saying here, I'm the Richard Simmons of the American fantastic economy. There he is, the Richard Simmons of the American fantastic economy. There. Okay, well, anyway, I invite you to go to my website, which is Richards, no apostrophe S, just Richards, like a whole bunch of Richards, Richards Books of Political Cartoons.com, and you can see all my books and samples of all the books and videos from a couple of weeks ago or so, including probably this one, and you could just like a political Disney world of cartoons, and you just browse around, and if you see anything you like, I say buy the book. If you don't, and if you don't want to even go to my, if you don't even want to go there to my website, you could just go to Twitter, and it's Bronx Cartoonist, BRONX, that's where I'm from, the Bronx, Bronx Cartoonist at RJF Cartoons, and there you'll see the totality of my up-to-date cartoons. That all of these will be up there, and the rest of them that I've done recently will all be on that site on Twitter. That's the handle, Bronx Cartoonist, handle RJF Cartoons. I always like to talk about the Bronx. That's where I'm from, you know, and I always think of the times growing up there, what an interesting place it was to grow up in. And I remember we used to, every Saturday we used to go to the Ogden movie, and for 25 cents we got to see three monster movies for 25 cents, and it was really something. And we spent the whole day there, you know, popcorn, hot dogs, and everything, Cokes, and 3 movies, imagine, for 25 cents. And so anyway, that's my chance to reminisce about the Bronx whenever I talk about my site on Twitter as Bronx Cartoonist. So thank you, folks. Here's another shot of the book, just to have a look at it, and you decide. But, you know, it's, well, I don't want to, you just decide, you take a look at it, and that's that. So anyway, let's get to the countdown today, starting off with numero 5. Okay, here we go. Whoop, there. Okay, number 5. Okay. Here we have Republican Senator and now Trump loyalist Ted Cruz falls asleep listening to President Joe Biden's first address to a joint sitting Congress and dreams of the former president praising and picking him as vice presidential running mate on the 2024 ticket. You know, that seems like a long way, but it goes time travels quick, you know. So here it is. So here he is. Here's, first of all, here is Senator Ted Cruz sleeping and here's President Biden delivering his his address. You see? And Nancy Pelosi is in this seat. Okay, and then you have Kamala Harris in that seat, the Vice President, and Speaker of the House, Pelosi. They're seated next to President Biden, who's giving his address. Okay, I guess that would be Kamala Harris, and that would be Nancy Pelosi over here, and President Biden with the American flag in the background. And there is Ted. dozing off, getting some Z's in, you know. There he is. And so so basically, here's his dream. And he has a dream. So here's the dream of President Trump nominating him, picking him for his vice president position, replacing Pence with Cruz as a reward for his great loyalty, you know. So here it is, and here is the dream. Here's President Trump. Here's Cruz, sleeping away. And there is, maybe snoring a little bit, and there's there's Cruz and Lincoln. So we'll get to the story here. Okay, and here is President Trump. My pick is Ted Cruz. He is a man of character, honor, and honesty. Not since Honest Abe Lincoln, not since Honest Abe Lincoln here has there been a Republican of such honesty. So he alludes to Lincoln, you know. Lincoln isn't too pleased with that comparison. You can see that, you know, of such honesty. It's true. They both have honest beards, you know. So you can see that Cruz's beard is a little here. It's a little gray there. It's dark. So he touched some stuff. He might have touched some things up. It could be an act of nature. Who knows? But I just did that as a joke. And I always say this, that I always do this to give you a joke, to make you think, and some information, and you put it all together. I don't like to basically be influencing your thinking. Just give you a joke, a laugh, and you decide. That's really my philosophy behind, from the day one back in 2016, was that in mind. So anyway, so here is Ted Cruz, and there's Abraham Lincoln he's comparing to. Lincoln isn't too pleased there in that position. And here's Ted Cruz. Okay, there's President Trump, you know, and they call Biden Sleepy Joe. Well, they could call Cruz Sleeping Cruz, you know. So anyway, there he is having the dream. There he is, President Trump. Okay, that was numero cinco, and that was number 5. Okay. Here is numero cuatro, number 4. All right. Well, you know who this is? This is Cheney, Liz Cheney, hanging from a tree, being hung by the Republicans. I meant this metaphorically, not literally. So don't think they're hanging Cheney from a tree or all those terrible things that happen. I wanted you to get an impact, make an impact here on the thought of what this is doing to our democracy. It's more than Cheney that's being hung here. It's our, I don't like to do this, but I'm just going to do it this time a little gently. It's the democracy, because you're basically saying Cheney was a conservative, more conservative than the lady who was replacing her, and in the spirit of a conservative Republican who was dedicated to this country. I mean, in the ballpark, you know, in the ballpark of say, well, most of you are not old enough to remember, you know, there was Barry Goldwater who ran up into the White House to tell Nixon he had to leave. I mean, there were some good people aside from Lincoln who were Republicans, you know, and so. There were good, and so it's today. Unfortunately, the party now is taking on a dramatically different look to it. You know, a little different. It's not your. They used to say when they used to do an advertisement for Oldsmobile. They say this is not your grandfather's Oldsmobile. Well, this is not your grandfather's Republican Party. Remember that from years ago? This is not your. They try to steam up, push the Oldsmobile brand You know, people were buying Pontiacs and they weren't buying Oldsmobiles because they thought it was an old man's car, you know, the Dynamic Super 88, the 98, all these things like 88 years old, 98 years old. It's for an old person, you know. That's how they named their cars. The Super 88, the 98, and then and so people think, well, that's 88 years old, that's for a 98-year-old. So this is not your grandfather's Republican Party, you know. So it's not even your father's Republican Party. So anyway, so there, okay, and here we have House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Republican California, has Republican Representative Liz Cheney dream. Okay, he's dreaming because he's fed up with Liz Cheney because basically she's holding to her convictions that the election was not stolen, and she's not backing down and not joining the herd of Republicans who are either staying silent or supporting that idea. You know, I mean the idea that there's no proof to. Okay. So anyway, so in the wake of McCarthy caught on a hot mic trashing Cheney. So McCarthy was on the microphone, you know, and he didn't know it was on. That's called a hot mic. When you don't know when you're talking, you don't know it's on, you know. Like I gotta go to the bathroom right now, I'll be right back. Holy smokes, you know. So anyway, that's it. So I've had it with her, you know, I've lost confidence. Someone just has to bring a motion, but I assume that will probably take place. And given Cheney appears certain to face another attempt by Republicans in the House to remove her from her leadership position. Okay, so that was done on May 5th. Okay, so here you have Cheney, again, I say metaphorically, not literally, hanging from a tree here. And she says, she is, let's get closer. Looks like she has a little mustache there. I don't know how that happened. I didn't mean to give her no mustache. I'm going to fix that later. You know, I wouldn't do that to Liz. No way. You know. Anyway, okay. I will never support the big lie that the election was stolen. And here goes McCarthy. Here's McCarthy. There he is. There he is with his finger pointing and his thumbs up. And he says, Cheney, I am at the end of my rope with you. That's a little pun. He's at the end of the rope, and there she is hanging from the rope. Little pun, you know. So anyway, Cheney, I am at the end of my rope with you. It was rigged, saying the election was rigged. And here's Cheney retorting. Here's Liz retorting, Liz Cheney, saying, this is a rigged hanging, you know. So she's talking up, even as she's being hung, she's talking truth to power. And she is saying here, this is a rigged hanging. Okay? So there you have it. Get our hands. There's Representative Liz Cheney. And there's McCarthy. There's the tree. Okay. She probably, in reality, she probably would say something else too. But again, I want to make you think. I don't want to kind of inject her opinion or my opinion. I just want you to get a laugh and think about it. You know. There's McCarthy, thumbs up, the finger. There she goes. Boom. All right. Again, this is all metaphoric. It's not to be taken literally that she's being hung. It's metaphoric. It's not only to Liz Cheney, it's to our democracy that's it's being hung. Because if you start eliminating politicians who don't just not, you know, if you could disagree with somebody on a thing and say, well, this and that, but if you're going to disagree over one issue, just one thing, that's not, it's not reality over thing. It's like saying, well, she believes, she won't believe in Santa Claus, you know, or something like that. I mean, or Santa Claus, it could be true, you know, that Miracle on 34th Street, that movie, you know, there was a Santa Claus in that movie. So I'm just saying to you that it's based on, it's not based on anything that serves this country. And that's the point here. It's based on a disagreement that does not serve this country. And that's what, to hang somebody over that, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they did that in the Roman Empire, you know, going back to ancient times. I don't think they even did that to Nero and Caligula and all those bad guys. They didn't do that, you know. But anyway, that's the story here. And there's the tree. There's Liz Cheney again. There's McCarthy. So McCarthy's an interesting character because he came out and he said originally that, you know, President Trump was at fault for the handling of the riot at the Capitol, and then he just turned around the other direction, you know. So I don't know. I don't know what to say, except I'd like you to think about it and have a good laugh and have a look at my book, you know, if you don't, and that's it. So, you know, so here you go, there. There he is. There's McCarthy. There's Cheney, the tree, and so forth. Okay, this is Numero 3 de la semana, number 3. Here we still on with Liz Cheney here, and here with President Trump there. Okay, now let's see what's happening. Former President Trump imagines attacking Representative Liz Cheney in a 2024 debate for the Republican presidential nomination after saying Liz is polling so low in Wyoming and has so little support that she is looking for a way out of a congressional race, and possibly she'll do that, not to run, but to run for president, even though she knows she's not going to get the Republican nomination against, it ain't going to happen after they took her out of her leadership. She ain't going to get that. But she's doing that, again, to make her voice heard, you know. They can't stop her from running. They haven't gotten to that point where people who are against Trump cannot run for president. That's still down the road yet. You know, they're going to put some, maybe we'll have a law like that someday. The Republicans will push through a law that anybody who cannot be in a nomination of the Republican Party, if you don't support Trump, it's really that way now by de facto. But there's no law written in books that says that. But we may get to that point sometime soon, you know. Anyway, so for a way out of a congressional race, she'll either be yet another lobbyist or maybe embarrass her family by running for president. Well, he shouldn't have brought up a family because that's a private matter, you know. But he said it, so I wrote it. I didn't say that. Former President Trump used those words. Okay. Now, here he is going after Cheney here, and he's saying this is a dream he had, that he was debating her for the Republican nomination, which he would never get, which would give him a chance to beat on her even more, and she would just be like just there, you know. She would be like, again, going back to the tree, tied to the tree, because there's no allies. She has no allies left in the Republican Party who are defending her like before when they tried to take her out of her leadership positions. She hung in, she got the votes. Today, everybody is silent now. So you see the progression of where they're heading, you know. They're heading to make a, you know. So, well, again, I always say, you decide, you think, I give you the facts here with a little joke. Okay, and here goes President Trump in his dream debating Liz Cheney for the Republican presidential nomination. Okay. This warmongering fool wants to stay in the Middle East and Afghanistan for another 19 years. but doesn't consider the big picture, Russia and China. Believe me, President Putin would never like this Liz Cheney like he liked me. Well, former President Trump did say that he never liked, President Putin never liked any other president the way he liked him. So I don't think Cheney's would rise to that level, had she, hypothetically speaking, you know. And Liz Cheney would never have the courage to call the coronavirus the Kung flu. You know, that was his name for the coronavirus, because he came from China, so he calls it like the Kung Fu, you know, Kung Fu. So he named it Kung flu. You know, she better just keep her mask on. So you've heard the former president say Kung flu. So that, I don't know what good that does to get China to cooperate in the future to see if this doesn't happen again, and try to do something about that. You know. Maybe they could do work on their stuff up and out. I don't want to go there. You know, let's go. There it goes. There it is, up there, right above us. Okay. So anyway, so here it is. That's the cartoon here. There's President. There's Trump, and there's Liz Cheney debating in a dream that former President Trump might have had, debating her for the Republican presidential nomination of 2024. Thumbs up. Okay. There's Liz Cheney. There's Liz. There's former President Trump. Okay. Okay, now, here we have the famous fist bumping between Biden and Liz Cheney again. There we go, in front of the Capitol, and this was an interesting cartoon. There's the Capitol, and this goes like this. Here's former President Trump. There's Liz, there's President Biden, there's the fist bump. Okay. And former President Trump is again here saying, basically, in the wake of Cheney's refusal to back down her position was not stolen. So again, this animosity towards Liz Cheney is coming out here. Okay, so he would have this fantasy about having an outside video in front of the Capitol to show the world this fist bump that Liz Cheney did with Biden to implicate. A fist bump is now a horrible, as a desecration of the Republican values. You know, to honor somebody and respect somebody, regardless if they're not on Trump's team, then it's not patriotic. You see, so he would have former President Trump would have want us perhaps believe that it's very unpatriotic to fist bump, what do you call that? We call it fist bumping a official who is not on the team, the Trump team. So he would again have this broadcasted around from the Capitol, the fist bump, in his fantasy. Okay, here's Liz Cheney fist bumping Sleepy Joe. I can't wait for her to run for president in 2024 when my Republican Party launches this video. So he's thinking back then that the Republicans are going to really sock it to her. If she runs, they're going to play this video. It's going to be seen all over Fox News. You know, this is going to be like a half an hour or every 10 seconds. You know, they may even cut down on their commercials. You know, and you see, That's the fist bump again. There it is. They want that out there for if Liz decides to run for president. This is going to be. You're going to see this. It's going to be like a, you know, it's going to be out there, really big time. Okay. Here's Liz Cheney, fist bumping Sleepy Joe. I can't wait for her to run for president in 2024 when my Republican Party launches this video. Liz Cheney won't be able to become president of a Wyoming taxi union. So Wyoming is big for President Trump and Republicans. So President Trump thinking this. He didn't say that. I'm just thinking is what he's thinking, that she won't be able to run for the presidency of a Wyoming taxi union because it's so, the state is so heavily aligned with former President Trump and Republican. So Liz Cheney will, you know, that's what he's saying basically, that this is just her last hurrah to run for president would be her last hurrah in terms of her political future. This would be it, you know. That's what he's basically saying here. You see? So, and he'd be adding to that last hurrah by broadcasting this video of her from the Capitol of doing the fist bump with President Biden. You know, I mean, you heard McConnell just a day, yesterday or so, say that his objective, his number one objective now, is to defeat the program of Biden. You know, there's nothing good in it. We have to defeat it 100%, and that's his objective now. That's what he's there in Washington to do now. That's what he's collecting his paycheck for to do. So, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if years and years ago, back in the 50s or 60s, somebody would have made a thing like this, a TV would be a comedy, you know, that the United States would be like this, you know. So nobody could have dreamed of a political scenario like this, you know. You know, we had all kinds of political satires. The Mouse That Roared. I remember I was a kid. 5 Days in May. I think with Kirk Douglas. And these are all political satire movies, and nobody could have thought of anything like this, anything like this would happen. Nobody, but there we have it here. There we have it. You know. Okay, so there we have it. You know, they'll probably even cut into Tucker Carlson's time to do some more of these commercials, cut down maybe some of the time that Tucker Carlson gets on Fox to do some of these extra time for these commercials to show Liz Cheney doing the fist bump with Biden. They may even cut his time down. Who knows, you know? There we have it. Okay. Now, here we go to numero cuatro, number 4. Okay, now you guess who this is here in the hot tub there with the American flag. Okay, guess who that is? Well, if you said former New York mayor, now Trump attorney, Rudy Giuliani, you'd be correct. There he is in the hot tub, Trump with waving the American flag. And here we have the cartoon. And there's former President Trump at Mar-a-Lago watching this on a video from Mar-a-Lago. Okay, here we go. Trump, in the wake of federal agents raiding Rudy Giuliani's home and office for evidence, calls Giuliani, quote, a great patriot, and says he does these things, he just loves this country. But he just loves this country, he just does these things, you know? He does these things. Trump watching a video thing of Giuliani in a hot tub with Lev Parnas, the Florida businessman who teamed with Giuliani to collect damaging information in Ukraine on former President Donald J. Trump's political rivals. So this is, here we have Lev Parnas. You've seen him on TV. He basically teamed up with Rudy to go out to Ukraine to kind of manipulate or in some way to get information against Biden and his son, tying them together into some sort of a corrupt endeavor there. And so I don't want to kick that one too hard, because there's a lot of that's still not really truly we pretty well know, but I just want to stick to giving you the facts as simple, as clearly, and giving you a good laugh and having you think about it. So you could look this stuff up on your own. You want to read about it. So anyway, so that's them with Parnas, Lev Parnas, and Rudy in a hot tub, and there's Rudy waving the American flag. I got that idea because of Rudy himself, because Rudy Giuliani was in a restaurant bar with Parnas, and they were talking like good friends, and there was an American flag on the table, and there it was in front of Rudy, and there was the American flag. So I got to thinking, well, it'd be interesting to put them in a hot tub together with Rudy waving the American flag. Wouldn't be too far of a stretch from reality, So there it is. That's how that came about. So there he is, very happy there. The pictures you see of Rudy today, he ain't too happy with some of these pictures you see of him, So this goes back to the good old days, when former President Trump was president, and then they were, in the Ukraine. So anyway, there it is. This is Lev Parnas with him there. And so they were working together to accomplish this goal. And then here's former President Trump watching the video, and he's saying, "This is so unfair. I don't know what they are looking for. Rudy's electronic devices will only prove he's a great patriot." They took out a whole bunch of electronic devices from his office and apartment, and likes to wave the American flag. So he's paid this. All the videos are going to show him waving the American flag, and it's all they're going to get, that he likes to wave the American flag. That's all that's going to come out of these videos. So that's what he would be saying. He didn't say that. I injected that into just kind of, putting it in there. There it is. Mar-a-Lago. Trying to capture the beauty of Mar-a-Lago and the idea of the strong friendship between Rudy and Lev Parnas, and Rudy's devotion to the American flag there. So there it is. President Trump. Okay. All right. Numero uno de la semana. Number one of the week. Here we have former President Trump, and we got Cruz. And as you saw the other day, Cruz took a trip down to Mar-a-Lago to visit with former President Trump, and they had a very nice time down there. And they basically got together, got along very well, and the shot was of them at a table there. And after they had dinner, Cruz characterized it as a great dinner, great food. Boy, I'm sure it was. I'm no question about that. So anyway, so here's I drew a gold table. I thought it would be likely, something like that, where they would be having dinner on a gold table of some kind. So here it is. Former President Donald Trump. Oh, by the way, this did really great on Twitter. You know, a lot of people really enjoyed this. I always like to see that a lot of people enjoy my cartoons, and this one seemed to have done very well, as it is #1. Former President Trump, Donald Trump, and Senator Ted Cruz of Texas following their great, quote, great dinner at Mar-a-Lago, talking about working together to retake the House and Senate in 2022. That's what was conveyed, that Cruz did convey that they spoke about that. Amid watching news of Arizona's audit of the 2020 presidential election results in the state's largest county. So this was going on at the time they were showing us the audit that was going on there in Arizona, and they're basically auditing the 2020 election. Even at this stage of the game, where Biden is settled into the White House, and policies are being made, and decisions are being made, and we have to focus on what this country is going to do with all the problems we have, they're still back in the Stone Age of thinking about the past election and trying to investigate it. You know, well, that's how it is, you know, so, okay. And amid watching news of Arizona's audit of the 2020 presidential election results in the state's largest county, which is being done without outside observers. So there's no outside observers there, as you would in any kind of place like that where you would do the vote. You'd want people who are totally unbiased, who could see to it that nothing was, that no ballots were destroyed or injured in any way, shape, or form, or distorted in the count. Nobody's there. It was all the people from this company, which is Cyber Ninjas. You know, that's the name of the company. So anyway, results in the state's largest county, which is being done without outside observers by a company called Cyber Ninjas that uses ultraviolet light to check ballots. Okay, so if you remember that President Trump, former President Trump, was very fond of using ultraviolet light. He talked about lights being injected into the body to kill the coronavirus. We could use some kind of a light. Remember, he said that. He said that was his own words. He said that we could use some kind of a beam light or some kind to inside the body to destroy the coronavirus. That was way back, you know. So I thought to myself, well, I guess former President Trump would like the idea of ultraviolet light being used here for ballots as well, you know. So here's how, keep that thought in mind with the ultraviolet light, and here we go with the dialogue here. Okay, and here we have it. Here's Cruz, President Trump, table, Mar-a-Lago TV, watching it after dinner. And he's saying, Donald, I recognize that ninja vote counter as a big fan of yours from the Capitol on January 6th. So he recognized somebody because Cruz was there when all this was happening, and, you know, and he didn't vote to sanction the election, even with all that business. So, but I'm sure he was taking notice of what was going on, you know. So, and then he's got, see, so then, big fan of yours on January 6th was there. I recognized the guy from that day. And then former President Trump would say, that's fantastic. Shows they have American patriots committed to our glorious republic working. So there's patriotic people there working. They were there on January 6th at the Capitol, and now they're working to straighten out a rigged election. They're the patriots of the world, of our country, you know. I mean, so that's his way, that's his thinking there. And then here's Cruz. Cruz retorts here. Cruz says, Donald, maybe we could use these American patriots in 2022 to audit any House or Senate races we do not win. So they were talking about 2022, taking back the House and Senate. So if they lose any House or Senate seats they lose, they could call them the Cyber Ninjas, and they could check it out with their ultraviolet light, check out the ballots with the lights, the ultraviolet light technology that they use, and straighten out the election. Okay, That's what. So he's saying that, and then here's former President Trump. He retorts back saying, we could also get these patriot ninjas to begin the manufacture of voting machines. So he's not thinking back to 2022. He's thinking in the here and now. Former President Trump is saying now we can get them immediately to rush out some of those voting machines from Cyber Ninja to get those voting machines out so we can do the whole election over again, you know. So I only miss about, a few months of my second administration, you know. Maybe if I come in now, I'll get an extra 6 months after January to make up the time for when Biden was erroneously president. And I'll have a constitutional, we'll have a constitutional battle at the Supreme Court to see if I can get back the time I missed, because I was legitimately president during when Biden was there, and they kicked me out of the House. So now we have to right that wrong, you know. I don't know, but this is the kind of stuff that we're in here. So anyway, so President, we could also get these patriotic ninjas to begin the manufacture of voting machines for here and now. That's what he's thinking, the here and now. He ain't thinking 2022. President Trump wants a reversal of the election ASAP, as soon as possible. I like their ultraviolet light UV approach, going back to what he said when they were talking about the coronavirus, and he was going to use some of that Mr. Clean injections, and he talked about light, and the light was one way, another alternative, that if the Mr. Clean didn't work, we could go to injecting light beams into the into people to kill it that way. So that's how he came up with ultraviolet light approach. Okay. Okay. So there is former President Trump. There's Cruz. After dinner, they had their desserts. You know, they had the world's greatest piece of chocolate cake, and they had steaks or whatever they had. I don't know if Trump steaks are still around anymore, or maybe some filet mignon, or or whatever, with mashed potatoes and asparagus and delicious some sparkling champagne, you know, and now they're just relaxing here and watching the TV. Okay, so there it is. That's it. So that's the countdown for this week, folks. I want to thank you very much for watching my video, and I want to wish you all a good couple of weeks ahead, and hang in there, because I always say better days are coming, and we have to stay consistent. We can't start thinking about, oh, we got this thing beat and it's over, and it ain't over. You know, they say it ain't over until a fat lady sings. Well, it ain't over until people can go out and feel comfortable. You know, that's really the thing. And the statistics and how many people are getting sick, and what's going on with the variants and everything, all these things have to be watched, and we have to keep our eyes on the ball, and we can't start thinking about, you know, oh, it's summertime, you know, and go out there and say, well, it's all over. This is a new ball game now. It ain't a new ball game yet. It will be, though. I'm sure it will be. Not completely. They'll still be, you know. Well, I don't think we'll ever really be like it was. I mean, it's hard to go back, but we will reach a comfortable level, I'm sure. Live our lives comfortably. And I want to wish you all the best. Take care of yourselves. And thank you again for watching my video. And God bless you. God bless you. And God bless America. See you, folks. Until next time, bye.